Welcome to Unfiltered Discussions. You got Nash in the building.
Got Ash in the building.
So let's see. Today, how about we discuss the importance of knowing your partner? Why do you feel like it's important to know the person that you're dealing with?
Well, I feel like it's important to know the person that you're dealing with because that will you basically that's like more so like setting up those boundaries and not having those unrealistic expectations of your partner, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in order to really know who you're dealing with is more so having those tough conversations that we often don't want to have,
Mm-hmm.
and we tend to look at things like farsighted. Like we don't really, we don't really be trying to look at like the bigger picture, like more so like nearsighted. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't really want to look at the bigger picture. And if people are displaying things and showing you things and telling you things that they're willing to accept, not willing to accept, things that they're going to deal with, absolute no's, or knowing that even down to you having to be patient with an individual, or that you may be dealing with a partner that's not gonna be more so impulsive, right? Like if you have a partner that that is not impulsive and you are the impulsive person, and you know that they have to really think about what they're doing before they go into it. You have to be mindful of that and respect them and who they are as an individual. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So these are the things that, in going into knowing this, let you know whether you want to deal with this person on that type of level or not. Now you go into it knowing this, and then next thing you know, you act like you're oblivious and you don't even know what's going on at some point in time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Especially when you're setting up those clear boundaries. When you set up boundaries, that's a way to really let somebody know that another way to protect you from certain things, and vice versa when you're setting up clear boundaries. Because
Absolutely.
if a partner say that they don't like X, Y, and Z, and here it is, you go against it, then what does that say? Like, you know what I'm saying? How did you have the expectation of this if this person told you what is going on? And also respect goes a long way, because when you build a relationship off of respect, everything comes along with that communication piece, you know what I'm saying, that honesty piece, and also that loyalty piece, you know what I'm saying? Because when you operate off respect, you know how to deal with this person, you know how to speak to this person when you're having a disagreement. You're not going in there, being crazy and saying mean things, and throwing things in their face that they've told you, when they were at a most vulnerable state. Those list of different things, and knowing how your partner react to, stress. A lot of different things you could get into with that, for real.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think that it's extremely important to know your partner for, I mean, we could have a laundry list of the
Mm-hmm.
whys, right? I feel like a lot of times that people go into things and react of temporary emotions, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they create, and I think we all do this as human beings, we create our own scenario with things supposed to look like what we want them to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And then we really like clench down on that, that fantasy that we have inside of our head that we already created, even if the reality is not displaying the same thing that
Mm-hmm.
we actually want. And we can continue to dig at it and dig at it, because you gotta really respect the person that laid it all out and say this is what it is and this is what it ain't. Take it or
Mm-hmm.
leave it. And if you decide to take it, you pour on, love and over extending yourself in hopes that this person will confine to what it is that you want, when they told you from the beginning that that wasn't what they wanted, right? And that's where a lot of people fall short at, because you think that, oh, I'm gonna get him in his bed and or her in his bed and I'm gonna turn him out, and then they're gonna do what I need them to do. No, real talk, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people feel like physical intimacy, you know, changes people's mind about things that they really stand on, or they overcompensate, whether it was with materialistic things, or being okay with things that they're not okay with just to appease who they're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
So just to be like, oh, I got somebody, or maybe him or she would change her mind about the things that they said they didn't want. But you gotta know who you're dealing with, because it in the long run you'll be in for a rude awakening, very
Mm-hmm.
disappointed, very hurt, very you know I don't want to say playing a victim, but a part of it is playing a victim because you knew what it was when you signed up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes people say, well, that person is wrong. The other person that was straight up and put it on the table, well, that person is wrong. They let this person on, but did they really? Because if we're sitting here, we want to, dig into all the facts of it. Yes, everybody has to take accountability. The
Absolutely.
person I laid it on the table, I laid it on the table. You chose to proceed, and that doesn't change my mind. But then the person on the opposite side that really want all these things, is it fair for them too? I mean, so you really gotta be like, But then that comes with knowing yourself, loving yourself, and setting your own boundaries and your own expectations and things like that. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you really love you, why even that's like self harm, self sabotaging behaviors if you continue to do something that a person doesn't want to do with you. And then another thing, I just feel like when it comes to know your partner, you really, really communication is key. Like you said, those tough conversations got to be had. It's not always going to be peaches and creams. It's not always going to be
Mm-mm.
roses. You're going to get those thunderstorms. You're going to get those explosive moments, but they have to happen because to be honest with you, when those explosive moments happen, the bonding is going to go stronger, or it's going to tear y'all apart, and y'all really see where y'all stand at. I'm in the midst of it all. Even when it all clear up and all of that, you're like, Dad, this needed to happen because then I know exactly what I want and don't want and who I'm dealing with. But a lot of people don't want that because then
Mm-mm.
now the thing that they created upstairs is really not reality, right?
No.
And then I just feel like knowing your partner comes with being friends. I just
Oh
feel like a
yes.
friendship is essential to any relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you need to be friends with your partner because think about it. A lot of people say, "Oh, you would say that they in love with these people and all of this stuff,"
Right.
but these people don't know like small details about you.
Yep.
That like blows my mind. Like y'all don't have those kind of conversations. Like, oh, he or she don't know that, but you might be telling that to somebody at your job. You might be telling it to one of your homeboys and your homegirls of the same, of the opposite sex or whatever. But these are not things, conversations you have with your spouse.
Right.
And it's like that's like a disconnect within itself right
Oh
there,
yes.
because I feel like friendship, that's the base of it. That's in the foundation that you build up from that.
Yes.
Um, and when you don't have that, it shows too. Because think about it, and I would really like to see couples go out together, right? If you ever around a bunch of couples, you can
Mm.
see the dynamics in their relationships. You can see who really homie loving friends. You can see who just in it for whatever why they in it. You can see who they was good at one point, but things got a little rocky and they just got to work on it a little bit more. You can see the people that just starting out fresh and they like over the top and love that little cupcake phase. Everybody love that phase, right? But you could really see what was really real, because
Yeah.
the people that really in love with each other and really accept the partner for who they are and really respect who they with, it shows up. You ain't even gotta say it, you could just see it. You could see it without anybody speaking on it. But if you don't know your partner, you're in for a rude awakening. You
Oh
really
yes.
are. And I just feel like people need to respect what people say. Respect it. Can people change over time? If they, because sometimes people come into a situation and some people are like, oh, I'm against having kids, I'm against this, I'm against that. And then over time, then there could like be compromises throughout the way and be like, oh,
Mm.
I mean, I know I came in like that, but now that my outlook is totally different.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. So there's a lot of different things that can be tweaked. But a lot of the times when people say, listen, I'm not ready for love, I'm not ready for this, I don't want this, I don't, and they like concrete about it, you gotta respect it. And then a lot of the times too, oftentimes people get into relationships and kids is an issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
You'll go ahead and you'll compromise and say, oh, I could give you one or two or whatever, and it's still not enough. You know what I mean? And it's like, Dad, well, I already went and bent my rules a little bit, and it's still not enough. Like, where does it stop? Like, where does it stop?
Exactly.
And where does you start saying, you know what, you're right. You did give me X, Y, and Z. Be good. Let's build on what we got and let's keep it pushing. But then when you keep pushing and pushing, but then an accountability has to go on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because it as a woman or as a man, if I'm a woman and I say, you know what, I don't want any more children, birth control is my answer. If I'm a man and I say I only want this one kid or I don't want any protection is my answer.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So it's things that are preventative things that could be put in place to prevent any of these things from happening.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because it puts damage into the relationship. You know what I mean? And then you start, losing respect or, having to throw away the things that you build up off of something that could have been a simple fix. It can really be so simple, but sometimes as human beings we make things so hard, but they easy.
Simple.
Mm-hmm. You know what I
make
mean?
things harder than what it is at the end of the day, and it's
Absolutely.
crazy because it's funny how you laid that out there, and also when you talk about the dynamics of the relationships, let's talk also the forced relationships, which we talked about
I hate those.
a few podcasts back. Like you're forcing things that you haven't been forcing,
Mm-hmm.
and also you have people that act as if they're ready for these things and they're really not. When the partner do lay these things out on the table, you know what I'm saying? Because if you feel a way about something or you standing on what you stand on what you stand on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because over time you may change your mind, you may not, because you might have a partner that be like, dang, like I respect your perspective. I understand you. You know what I'm saying? I respect your perspective. I respect what you got going on, and vice versa. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you begin to force things with your significant other, or you begin to literally like force those things, and then place pressure on things that don't need to be placed on, this is where things start to go left.
Absolutely.
Because you're not giving your partner the opportunity to give them time. It goes with patience. Like, you have to be patient, you know what I'm saying? And you not knowing your partner or knowing how they operate, it really, because it goes into, why do we think that we're going to make somebody do something that we you don't want the person don't want to do? Like, oftentimes, like you said, people create these false narratives or these fantasies in their head as if these things are going to play out the way that they're going to play out, and it's like, no. Then that's when you find people giving out ultimatums, right?
Mm-hmm.
They start giving out ultimatums when it might have been a year or two where this person have been saying the same thing over and over again, and here it is now, throw out the ultimatum in order for this person to bend or abide by what you got going on and what's going on. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That's just like getting into a relationship when a person said they don't have no desire to be married. You have a desire to be married. Why get into this relationship if they stated that they don't have no desire to be married? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, those, like I said, friendships is definitely important, because you connect on a different level than most people connect on if you're friends first. Like, you can literally talk about anything with this person, and it goes with being a friend first, and then you're your lover. You know what I'm saying? Because that's built off respect. That friendship. You literally know this person. What makes them tick, what makes them, and then also that goes with being mindful too. Mm-hmm. That mindfulness piece is important as well. You know what I'm saying? And also goes with picking and choosing your battles at the end of the day, because a lot of the times people tend to pick and peg on things that they have no business pegging on, and they be like, Dad, like, are you okay? No, you can't be if if you can't pick and choose your battles. You know what I'm saying? All that nagging and stuff and all that, it says a lot about you at the end of the day. It doesn't say a lot about your partner, and that's another thing, like knowing who you are first because with you, when you don't know who you are, how could you possibly know who your partner is? You don't know who you are at the end of the day. So it's like, how can you, you know? So that's just basically, my thing about that. Like, you, oftentimes, like I always say, is hard. People don't want to build relationships with themselves first. It's hard. The hardest relationship to build is with yourself, and I always say this. You know what I'm saying? When you know who you are as an individual, you're not easily accepting things that you're not, going to stand for. You're not easily swayed by, an individual or just talk. You're really more so like you start beginning to look at things on action oriented things. You know what I'm saying? And you looking at how your significant other treat other people surrounding them. You know what I'm saying? So when you love you first, then that's the big piece. You know what I'm saying? So that's just it.
Yeah. It's crazy because I feel like in order to in relationships, like, right, you got to know if you're a giver or a taker.
Yes.
And I just feel like a giver and a taker is never going to equate to anything positive in the long run, right? Because the giver is going to run out, and the taker don't care because he just taking. That comes down to the importance of being selfless, and I always state that. I think that is extremely, extremely important, not only in an intimate relationship, just as an individual, period. I mean, people always got to understand everything is not about you. Sometimes you got to take the back seat. Sometimes you got to take the high road because when you truly love somebody, you know what I mean. You put them in front of you sometimes. And it's not to say that you love you any less. No. It's just the fact that when you unconditionally, because people don't know, people use that loosely. Oh, I love you, I love you, I love you. But what level of love do you really love these people on? Is it unconditional? Is it on your terms? Is it conditional love? And a lot of people don't even know the two between that. People just think love knows levels to that as well, right? And we know that already. It's from the love of your parents, the love of your children, your love of your spouse, the love of your friend. Every love has a different level to it, right? And a lot of people needs to be able to identify and define what that looks like for them, because everybody will tell you a different story. Everybody, and then it goes into love languages, right? We all have a love language, right? Some people think, oh, him and she brought me gifts. You know what I mean? That's the way they express their love. Some people do it with act of touch. Some people do it with words. Some people are just straight up with action. It all depends, but you have to know your partner's love language. Just because this is my love language doesn't mean that it's yours, right?
Yep.
And that's the beauty of knowing who you're dealing with. Like, look, really, really, like, assess who you're in a relationship with, and know what they need. Everybody needs something. Even with me being an independent woman, I have needs as well, right? It might not always be. It's never really like a financial need, but at the end of the day, we all got needs. Whether we say, oh, X, Y, Z, everybody has a need. And when you're really in tune to who you're dealing with, you will automatically know that about that person. But a lot of people is so wrapped up in self that they don't take the time to look at who's beside them, who's in front of them, who's behind them. They all absorbed in what they need, what they want, and what works best for them. And those kind of people are selfish. Like,
yes,
that is a very selfish person. And no, I don't know who honestly who wants to deal with a selfish person anyway. Like,
no.
nobody likes easy. That. You know what I mean? Nobody likes that stuff. No, because it really chips away eventually when you're dealing with a selfless person. And people, and that's another thing. Like, you gotta look at all of this stuff. Like, I look at how people deal with other people, not just in an intimate space, but just as in that, like, as a human being. Period. Like, because if you're nasty and mean and conniving and petty and stingy, I'm like, who are you?
Yeah.
I mean, I know I don't like those kind of people.
No.
You know what I mean? Because then if that's who you are, then eventually that spills over to your love life as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people can only keep up an act for so long, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. Because yes, you have people that grooms to get themselves in relationships,
Oh yeah.
little fake representatives that come out and buy you this and say nice things
All
and
that
show up in the
bombing.
time of needs. Yes, all that kind of stuff. So you got to be watching out for that too, because
Yeah.
and that's all in the cupcake phase. But you still have to watch out for those things because they wear off. You'll see it. You'll see it
Them
start
layers
lessening,
pull
and it's like,
back.
whoa, wait. And then those are the red flags that we
Yes.
often ignore because you know why? They lay so thick and so good on in the beginning that you're still on that high. So when the red flags start to emerge, you're like, whoa, wait a minute. That but that no, because she did, so you justifying it. But in our reality, these are really who these people are, but you can't see it because they didn't covered you and all this love. Like I said, they love bombed you, and you're like, oh, dang, I'm still caught up over here. But they really showing you what you're about to be in for the long run. And
Mm-hmm.
I know we always talk about narcissists and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean these people are real. These
These
people
are
does
real.
exist, and it doesn't it's not based on gender because you have male and female narcissists. So
It
often,
doesn't
yeah,
discriminate.
at all. It goes both ways. To be quite
Absolutely.
honest, and that's another thing that we gotta be real with. You just gotta know, like honestly, in this day and time, I feel like all of us, from when we were teenagers into our 20s, into our 30s, coming into our 40s, I
Mm.
just feel like you gotta know you. You
Yeah.
gotta know who you're dealing with, and when you are single, do that self work. Do that self work so when something does come along, you're not desperate to jump at whatever comes in your face, right?
Because you'll be missing it.
Yeah, because sometimes we let being lonely or having these on our own, because we always have our own agenda up there. I want to be married. I got to do this by this age. I got to do this. 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 Right? And oftentimes people are pressured when they are surrounded by people that is in relationships, right? Because a lot of people will stick and stay in stuff for years, and it's like that's their norm. But when you look at, like I said, when you're surrounded by couples, you like, dang, this is some abnormal behaviors that
Mm-hmm.
I'm witnessing right now. Like that's not healthy. That's not. They don't feel good. You wanna feel good when you go with your partner. You wanna be like, dang, I miss you today. Like we're checking in, and that's another thing. A lot of couples don't check in and say, how was your day? What you got going on today? You know what I mean? You good? And you gotta know, even in your partner's moments of silence, what does that mean? Because if you're
Mm-hmm.
really in tune to this person, you know what's going on. They don't even have to say it. You know
Nope.
what's already going on and what's needed in those moments. And a lot of times we all gotta respect each other's space. Like I'm the type of person I don't like. I require my own space. We could be in the same room, and you are in the same house, and you might be over there doing something. I'm over here doing something, and that's cool. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm literally good with that. And when I need to be loved up on, I come find it. Or if you coming over to me and
But
you loving
that's
up on me, I'm cool with that. Like,
and that's the important piece that you say because I was in a relationship and I just couldn't wrap my mind around why this person couldn't understand. If I'm quiet, that does not mean that something is wrong. I might be doing, in tune, or I might need a moment to myself or anything because, a lot of the times people think that when people are extroverts that they want to be around people all day long, but more so like I gotta be by myself for a little bit because I gotta get that recharge. I have to recharge because after a while I might be this nice person and all that, but I need a recharge. I need to fall. I need to fall back because, truth be told, I get tired of people. I do, and I gotta get my recharge, and then I'm gonna be back at it again. And that's the thing, and it's certain people that I'm going to always like, all right, be around, but sometimes I need that moment. Like, give me that moment and I'm good.
mm-hmm.
And then you don't need a partner that's what's wrong with you or what you got an attitude. Or they start acting in a way as if you did something to them or start displaying abnormal toxic behaviors. And now here it is. you find yourself being in a toxic relationship and you may not even be the toxic person, right? Based off of that individual being toxic, now you find that you are being toxic because you're not doing things that you would normally do. Now you feel like you gotta
returning the energy that's given to you.
yeah, you gotta fight, you gotta be combative with this individual, even down to the emotional piece really being your feelings being acknowledged, right? We oftentimes we don't have to agree with how someone feels all the time, because feelings are not facts, but we also have to acknowledge how somebody's feeling. You know what I mean? Not being dismissive or being made to feel like crap because you're expressing a concern or a feeling or something,
No, absolutely, and it's okay to agree to disagree, right?
Yes.
We're not always going to be on the same page about things, but respect me enough to understand where I'm coming from, right? Say, you know what, I understand what you said by that, but when I said that or did that, it wasn't meaning to come across that way, but I can see how you feel. You know what I mean? Because that's important. I feel heard. I feel seen. Like you see me. You know what I mean? My feelings are valid. At the end of the day, and a lot of times, it's important to call your partner out on their BS.
Yeah.
You gotta call them out, because if you don't call them out, then the things that they're saying or doing, they think it's cool because you didn't speak up about it. That now you have to advocate for you, and that goes in any setting, because the same way you walk up into a job, same way you walk up anywhere. Oh, I need this or this. Same way you have to do in your relationship. It's important. It's a must that you do that, because if not, then you could become okay and listen. Well, oh, that ain't nothing. It's fine. It's fine. No. But you're complaining to everybody else, but who you need to be telling it to?
Yeah, feel something, say something. Up. Feel something, say something.
I mean, it's simple. I mean, I don't even know how to hide if I'm having an issue.
It's gonna show.
Excuse me, because I like to address things on site. I can't let nothing sit. You know what I mean? Because then I'm being phony.
And manifest into something that it doesn't need to.
It's just like hold on, wait. It was this small, but then it's this big because you didn't speak up in that very moment. And that's important. And if a person can't respect that tells you a lot about them.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm bringing this issue here on the table, and it's an issue because I'm bringing this to you. No, that active listening, that effective communication, all those things are extremely important. It's healthy. A disagreement doesn't mean that you have a bad relationship. It's much needed, honestly, because that lets me know the same way I stand up for me, you stand up for you. We're gonna stand up for each other for what we want, right? And that makes the bond even stronger. That strengthens the relationship. That sets down core things. And yes, we all is annoying at some point. All of us. I don't care if you get on my nerves. You know what I mean? Like, everybody has ways. We all got our own funny ways. I don't care. We're human. We're human beings.
Yeah.
But you got to know who ways you can deal with, right? Because everybody is they energy and their behaviors aren't healthy, right? And you find yourself like, whoa, I don't even recognize who I am anymore dealing with you. Like, who am I? I don't know me no more, because now I don't do petty. I don't do arguing all over what's happening
or
right
consistently point out your flaws and things.
And we all flawed up. All of us is flawed up. All of us have things we can work on. So we could be at this all day if we want to go down the list of flaws, right? But when you truly love and accept a person, that comes with flaws and all. Because if you know the person that you love, you wouldn't even highlight those flaws, because ain't that hurtful? That's like hurtful, unless you come to me and say, listen, I'm trying to work on X, Y, and Z, and I'm like, okay, all right, well, what you trying to do? What we gonna do? Let's get solution focused here. What you trying? You know what I mean? Then now it's highlighted because you highlighted it, right? Not because I'm highlighting it, because I knew you had all this going on. I knew that already. So if I was accepting of it, why am I highlighting it? Oh, because what? Then I can't pretend anymore. That hurts me. I can't do that. I can't. You knew this already, though.
But that says a lot about the individual at the end of the day, when you have to sit and pick someone apart to the point where, because oftentimes who our flaws make us who we are at the end of the day. That
Mm-hmm.
makes up our personality by you having those certain ways about yourself or certain things about yourself, not in an unhealthy
Absolutely.
way, but this is who you are as an individual. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So when you have somebody that does that's more so like being abusive in a way. Like you,
Yes.
for somebody to constantly come at you as a person and come at you on a consistent basis, whether it be intellectual, whether it be on an emotional level, whether it be as if they're trying to tear away layers of you as a strong being and trying to come at your self-esteem, all those list of things as well. You know what I'm saying? So that says a lot about that
Yeah,
individual.
it chips away at the confidence, right?
Mm-hmm.
It really does. And oftentimes, what's so crazy, and I'm really like sick of hearing it on the internet about being submissive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like those conversations to me is just like everybody has their own definition of what submission looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And I have said on plenty of
Yeah.
podcasts ago that yes, I know I'm an alpha female. I mean, I know that about myself. I'm a very strong-willed person, mentally, physically, whatever you want to label me as, and I'm okay with that, right? Um, but yes, am I more in tune now to my more softer, feminine side of me? Yeah, I am. Because when you are in a situation that allows you to do that, men, because I'm going to speak strictly of a female
Perspective.
lens,
Yep.
because yes, when you're a strong woman, only way you can be a soft version of yourself is when you have that emotional security, that emotion, that stability, that I could take that sigh of relief because I know I'm good with you. I'm in good hands right now, right? And if you're not creating that for your woman, then all you're going to get is alpha. All you're going to get is
Mm-hmm.
strong. All you're going to get, you know what I mean? And as an alpha woman, that can't be turned off unless you have assured me that I'm good,
Absolutely.
that I am good. And again, being strong is a good thing, right?
Yeah.
But being soft is a beautiful thing for a woman. Tapping into that soft side is good. No woman, we was taught to be this way. Our circumstances made us this way. You understand? Like when you're always in survival mode, you gotta be strong. You gotta show up because a lot of people is dependent on you, whether they
Mm-hmm.
say it or not, but they are. And and that's just real talk.
Yeah.
But nobody wants to. No woman. I'm speaking because I'm a woman and I know that to be facts. No woman wants to show up in the world strong in those levels, especially in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? Who feels like that? I know I don't
Mm-mm.
want to do that. I don't want to wear the pants and all of that. I've been said that on plenty of
Plenty.
podcasts as
Look, the
well.
trousers.
I mean, listen, throw them joints to the side. I mean, as you can see, I'm all, in my overgarment, so the pants is out now, right?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, so there's no pants to be worn at this
Mm-hmm.
point in my life. But yeah, at the end of the day, create what you want in your
Yeah.
spouse. Create a safe space. Create a soft, energetic, positive environment. Like, give to others what you want given to you, right?
Yeah.
And
For
be
sure.
real with each other. I feel like too often we don't want to come to that table because the stuff that's going to be said, we can't stomach it.
Or people are so afraid of the reaction of the person. That's why oftentimes people don't say nothing. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. And with being submissive, a lot of women think that being submissive come with being weak, which is not the case.
Mm-mm.
And like she said, it comes with the individual that you're dealing with and how they carry you. And if they're handling you with care and in a loving manner, then it's easy for a woman to become submissive in that way.
Absolutely, because I think all of us got rules, right? All of us bring something that the other, and that's the beauty of dealing with man, woman, or whatever way you want to put it, because we all bring something different. We all like, and yeah, now I know it's crazy because the roles have been it's so intertwined. It's just crazy now. everything is not black and white no more.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to male and female, women got careers. Women, could do things that normally we would take a back seat to back in the day. And now you got men that's jumping in and can do the dishes and can clean up and can cook the meals, and you know what I mean? So I just feel like you gotta create your team. I don't give a crap what social media says. I don't care what your siblings are doing with their spouse, what your best friends are doing with their spouse. Do what works for you and yours.
Yeah.
I don't care, even down to the 50-50. Honestly, I think that's needed. If I want to keep money in my pocket, you trying to keep money in your daggone pocket, we both got to be contributing up in this place.
Yeah.
Because if think about it, if what sense does that even make if all your money is going into everything, and so now you working harder, you more stressed. Now other problems is going to rise because Dad, I can't buy myself nothing. I pay everything. Like, Dad, what about me? Like, I'm doing all this overtime. So now more issues are going to be created.
Because their financial stress is a lot.
Absolutely. Like, so women that want, like, I want this. Listen, don't require a man to do something you can't do. Could you buy that bag?
Yeah.
Could you buy those shoes? Could you buy those clothes? Can you? Don't live off of what the internet is saying.
Yeah.
Can you do that yourself? Because if I want something, I could go get it. I want that.
Let me go get that real quick.
Let me go get that.
Mm-hmm.
Simple.
And that's the thing. People tend to idolize things that they have no business idolizing.
Stop it, please.
Those are people that are in a different bracket and that aligns with their circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
People fail to realize that you trying to push the narrative of that when your finances can't even push that narrative at all. Nowhere near close to that narrative, and you talking about, you want this person to do this and this person to do that. No, you got to stop comparing and contrasting. If somebody 50-50, that aligns with what they got going on, and it works for them. What works for somebody else doesn't mean that it's going to work for you. So that's the problem right there. That's when you're going to fall short every time, because you want to compare and contrast things that you have no business comparing and contrasting.
Absolutely not. And then one last thing, because I like to close that out.
Yeah,
right? But I think it's extremely important to not look at another person's relationship and compare it to yours, because if you both are on the same page and building, eventually you'll get to where those other people are on a financial level, or you suppress them. So at the end of the day, worry about what you and yours got going on. I'm not going to look over it and say, they doing this. I don't give a crap what nobody's doing. I want about what we got going on, what we working on, what we going to go do. You know what I mean? And again, sit down and have those real conversations and listen to. A lot of times we always hear what we want to hear. We pick a part out of a conversation with the words that we want to hold on to. No, you got to listen to what they're saying and what they're not saying.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Look at the body language. Look at the reactions when you're having these kind of conversations with the person that you're dealing with. They'll tell you everything you need to know. And that's just what it is. And this is Nash signing off.